we're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Tuesday, July 29th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Im Sang-yeon.
Good to see you guys.
Good to have you. And also Grace Park is with us.
Great to be here.
And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's Tuesday, which means we're going to begin with our keyword news, where we look at a story that has been gaining traction over the past 24 hours. And today's keyword is sleep habits. So South Koreans are sleeping less than they did 5 years ago. Data from Statistics Korea Monday showed that the average daily sleep time for people aged 10 and older in South Korea was 8 hours and 4 minutes. That's 8 minutes less than in 2020, which may not seem like a lot, but it does mark the first drop in average sleep time since related data was first collected. On the other hand, time spent on media usage has spiked, rising by 17 minutes compared to 5 years ago to 2 hours and 43 minutes per day. So Grace, on average, how much sleep do you usually get? And what type of media do you find yourself staying up late for the most? Is it YouTube, social media, streaming shows, or something else?
Okay, so I try to get at least 7 hours of sleep per night, but this is kind of a recent change for me because I didn't value sleep as much until I started feeling like really tired in the day, and then I noticed that 1 or 2 hours of sleep, like additional hours of sleep, made a huge difference. And I am able to limit my YouTube watching like right before I go to bed, but the problem is that once I lay down and I turn on my social media, like catching up on Instagram or reading posts on Threads, it's hard for me to stop. So I know that I have to cut down on screen time before bed, but it's hard.
It's so hard because the videos that are suggested to us are curated for us.
I know.
There's things that I'm actually interested in.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to stop. So what about you, Sang-yeon?
So just like Grace, I try to get at least 7 hours of sleep every day. But recently, I don't know about you guys, but because of the hot weather, I couldn't get a deep sleep throughout the night and ended up waking up in the middle. And I don't usually watch that much media before I go to bed, but sometimes I go over the Instagram feed and watch YouTube shorts over and over, and this can get quite addictive. So I might as well refrain myself from watching them.
Isn't it hard to do so sometimes
Yeah,
though?
it's
Like I don't get why it's called doom scrolling.
Yeah, I feel I just empty my brain and just scroll over and over.
Mindlessly.
Yes.
It's so true. So the numbers may seem small, but they hint at a larger shift in how we spend our time and what we prioritize. But it's never too late to take back your time as Grace did, and even a small change such as setting a regular bedtime or limiting screen usage before sleep can make a big difference. And that concludes our keyword news for this Tuesday. So as we head into the second day of the work week, we're diving into a topic that's becoming increasingly relevant for young job seekers: how the tough job market is reshaping attitudes towards work and company culture. So let's take a look at the screen to learn more. Going to your dream school and then finding the right job is one of the biggest goals for many young people. But in South Korea, landing that job, especially your first one, is no easy task. And lately, this tough job market has led to an interesting shift in how people view the workplace. Instead of seeing the company as an oppressive or overly traditional structure, more and more young people are finding pride in being part of a company. There's a growing emphasis on belonging, shared values, and feeling like you're contributing to something bigger. As we just saw, a shift in how young people view the workplace has started to take shape as finding a job becomes more difficult. For today's main discussion on News Generation, we're taking a closer look at this changing perception of work, what it means to be proud of your job, how company culture is influencing the new generation of workers, and whether this pride lasts once you're actually inside the company. So Sang-yeon, how would you describe the current state of the labor market right now? Do you think we're truly experiencing what many are calling an employment freeze, which is a term that's been widely used to describe a sharp downturn in hiring, especially for young people? Or do you think that might be a bit of an exaggeration?
Well, it's definitely not an exaggeration, that's for sure. So if you look at Work24, a government-owned employment platform, the number of new job openings was 150,000, which was an 11% decrease from the same period of last year. And as for the job seeker, the number turned out to be 390,000, 12% increase from last year. Now, if you look at this screen, you can check the changes of opening to application ratio. These points are calculated by dividing the number of job openings with the number of job seekers. So if the points are close to 0, it implies a tight job market, whereas if the points are more than 1, it means that companies are having difficulties finding job candidates. So for this year, the opening to application ratio is 0.39, a 0.1 drop from the same period of last year. And this means that there are only 39 open jobs available for every 100 job seekers. This year's ratio is the lowest in 26 years since 1999. And what's more concerning is that this number is even lower than that of June 2020 when COVID-19 swept across the country.
So you did a great job telling us about the job market overall, but Grace, what about young job seekers specifically? How tough is it right now for recent graduates and young workers to find meaningful employment?
Yeah, it seems like unfortunately job prospects are looking pretty gloomy for millennials and Gen Z in particular. The youth unemployment rate has been on a downward trend for the past 14 months. And while the overall employment rate last month increased for 6 consecutive months, youth unemployment reached its highest level in 4 years after the COVID-19 pandemic. On top of this, companies are barely hiring entry-level employees, and they're looking for experienced workers even when they're hiring interns. And this, of course, is making young job seekers lose hope and give up looking for jobs. And we're seeing the number of jobless young people reach 400,000.
And I think that's where the term 중고신입, which means experienced new hires, comes in. And that's why it's so hard for people to enter the company as a completely with no experience these days. So Sanya, there's been a rise in admiration. And I guess this comes from it being so hard to find a job, an admiration for company traditions among job seekers. So how have company traditions become such a big deal for young people today?
Well, recently there has been one video that has gone viral on social media. It was about Samsung Electronics' new employee training session in 2006. So if you look at the video, it's being shared on platforms like YouTube and Instagram under titles such as Samsung Electronics Workshop back in the day. And this outdated corporate training style, which once thought to be obsolete, is now drawing attention from the MZ generation. And as the job market becomes increasingly competitive, the so-called old school events that emphasize a sense of belonging are ironically becoming objects of admiration since many youths are having a hard time finding jobs. It seems that even such an outdated corporate tradition is becoming a dream goal to many job seekers.
So I actually saw the video that you just mentioned while I was doom scrolling, and I saw how it kind of reminded me of the Super Bowl because I felt like it was held in a huge stadium, and it starts out with like a cheerleader, and there's also like a card stunt, and they spell out, and then they kind of form a Korean image, kind of I guess representing Samsung. So it's quite the scale of it was quite impressive.
Yeah, I also saw that, and yeah, I had many feelings as I was watching that. Yeah, it was kind of like both. Yeah, I guess I can relate to those new employees, but at the same time, I felt like what exactly they have to do in order to feel being able to socialize with others, and especially in the companies, the sense of belonging. What is all of that? Yeah, it meant a lot for me.
There's definitely pros and cons to that. So Grace, do you think this sense of pride or excitement about company culture is already evident among young job seekers? Even before they actually join the company, what kinds of things are they doing or saying that reflect this mindset?
Yeah, it seems like this type of collectivism and pride in company culture we used to see in the past is becoming more evident among today's young job seekers. It's said that some job candidates are coming to their final level interviews with neckties in the color of that specific company as a display of their loyalty. Or they're even going to the coin 노래방, which is like the one-person karaoke rooms, to practice songs that they're planning to sing at company dinners. So I think this shows us how desperate the job seekers are these days to land jobs.
I mean, I guess for people that are looking to hire, like putting that effort into like you mentioned, like ties in that company's color would reflect well on them?
Yeah, I think honestly the ties, the colored ties are maybe like a sensible choice to, appeal to to be more appealing to like the interviewers
Right.
and say that like, yeah, I'm ready to work for this company.
Yeah, right, exactly. So while this represents quite a big shift from the past when many people saw company traditions as oppressive or rigid, today's young job seekers are increasingly looking for workplaces where they can feel a genuine sense of belonging and pride. And to explore the change further, we ran a poll on the Arirang News YouTube channel asking our viewers what kind of company culture they would like to experience. And the responses gave us some interesting insights into what today's job seekers are really looking for. So according to the poll results, 52% of respondents said they would like to experience corporate training programs, making it the most preferred aspect of company culture. This was followed by company outings and retreats at 20%, while team dinners and gatherings came in at 15%. Lastly, 13% of respondents showed interest in in-house clubs such as hobby or sports groups. I can actually relate to this. I would like to, I think having like company training programs, like I've been saying this for a very long time since I pretty much entered this company, how I would like to learn how to edit videos. I think that would also be interesting. Did you do anything interesting like with that corresponds to the poll results?
I remember being a part of the tennis club at my company, which was really nice because I was able to learn something new through my workplace, which is something that I didn't really think about before. So I think that gave me like more of a sense of loyalty to the company because it gave me like an advantage, or it gave me something that I could learn.
Well, I think that's it's a benefit. You can get to know
it is a
people
benefit.
through that way too. So to learn more about how young people are navigating today's tough job market and what they're really looking for in a workplace, after the break, we'll be speaking with a college student in Korea who's currently on the job hunt. So don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Kim Jae-won, a university student here in Korea who is currently figuring out his next steps in the job market. Hi, Jae-won. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Yes, hello.
So how would you describe the job market these days? What's your personal experience or impression of the job market?
First of all, I feel really grateful to be given this opportunity to speak on behalf of other job seekers. Well, for me, what I've really been feeling lately is the rise in experienced applicants who are still considered newcomers. I think it's mainly because of the current economic situation. Many companies now prefer candidates who can immediately contribute without much training. As a result, it's getting harder for fresh graduates or those just entering the job market because naturally they may fall short compared to someone with actual work experience. That's why I think more people these days are working hard to build up the skills needed, specifically for major companies among job seekers is making employment gaps even longer. Honestly, I see this a lot around me. Some of my friends get offers from smaller companies, but choose not to take them because they want to keep preparing for jobs at big name firms. And that just makes it even harder to get into those top companies since so many people are aiming for the same spot. That's it.
Okay, Jae-won, I think we just had a bit of technical issue, but for the next question, would you still consider working at a company with a conservative or traditional culture if the salary was high, and why or why not?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I think every bit of experience matters. So if it were me, I'd probably go for it. I believe there are both horizontal and vertical types of corporate structures. And honestly, I think both have their own advantages. Vertical organizations tend to be more traditional or conservative in culture, but one good thing is that roles are clearly defined. So you often get great opportunities to play to your strengths. Another reason I actually consider working for a more traditional or conservative company is because of career paths. In those environments, there's usually a clear system in place for promotions and skill development. So if you work hard and meet the expectations, there's a good chance you'll move up steadily. For someone like me who values long-term growth and wants to build up experience step by step, the kind of predictability is really appealing. It gives you a clear roadmap, and sometimes knowing what to aim for makes it easier to stay motivated and focused. And if they pay well on top of that, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Thank you.
Okay, Jaewon, from a job seeker's perspective, what is the most important factor when choosing a company you work for?
I think growth potential and employee benefits are really important. When I think about growth, I tend to ask myself, how much will this job actually help me in building my long-term career path? I try to assess how much progress I can realistically make toward my end goal. This might be a bit of TMI, but my ultimate dream is to start my own clothing business. And to get there, I need to develop a wide range of skills. So I really focus on whether the job will help me build those capabilities. As for benefits, I believe they play a huge role in how well someone performs at work, especially when it comes to motivation. Nothing beats good benefits. These days, more and more people value having a clear boundary between work and personal life, and they want that boundary to be respected. So I think that's why many people consider benefits as a key factor when choosing a job. That was a long answer, but thanks for listening. Thank you.
There were some glitches in the connection, but thank you so much for sharing your insight, and we just want to wish you the best in your job seeking endeavors in the future.
Yes, thank you.
So we just heard from a job seeker in Korea. So Sang-hyuk, once people land a job, do you think they keep that sense of pride and belonging? What are your personal thoughts on corporate traditions?
Well, by now, the millennial generation have been in the workforce for quite some time, so I'm pretty sure that if they made promotion quickly, some of them may be already in the manager positions. And although it was challenging to adjust to a corporate lifestyle at first, I guess most have gradually adapted. I work as a freelancer, but even so, I've come to realize that some aspects of traditional office culture are necessary. That ones I used to believe were needless, such as actually have values and, for example, taking notes during meetings or greeting colleagues in the morning. Those things are actually important if you want to work in a company. And these days, I hear that corporate culture is also evolving in a more progressive direction tailored to societal changes.
I think it's those traditions also that helps bring people closer. And a lot of people say you don't need to be close to people at work, but at the same time, it makes office life a bit more bearable at the same time. So Grace, since you're working in an office yourself, I'm kind of curious, what's the vibe like in your workplace? Do people talk about having pride in their company?
Sure, I've been at my current job for about 7 years now, so I am pretty familiar with the general culture and the vibes there. And since I work for a government-led agency, it is a conservative, yet it's a flexible environment, if that makes sense. Although we do have mandatory rules that we need to abide by, like strictly following work hours and other administrative protocols, the work itself is not as demanding as it would be for like a profit-seeking company in the private sector. So yeah, competition is less fierce and there's less pressure in general. And I don't know if my colleagues and I necessarily have like a sense of pride in the company, but we do appreciate the positive aspects that it offers, like less demanding hours and a laid-back atmosphere. And we actually had a Bring Your Children to Work Day last week, where a lot of parents seemed really proud to bring their kids to work and then show them the workplace and like all the benefits of working in that specific place.
So Sang-hyuk, for all the young people out there struggling to find jobs and start their careers, what advice would you give them to help them stay motivated and navigate these many challenges?
Can I just be honest and give a harsh, realistic
Go for
advice?
it.
Okay, so if you're currently looking for a job, instead of blaming the current situation, why don't you start out with something small? Because everything has timing and the right steps. No one can start out as a manager with a 5K salary. Even the managers in each company started their career as an intern. So if you fail to find a job in a promising, large-sized firm, start your career at small SMEs and build more experience, and after that, switch your job to bigger companies with bigger roles. And it's true that the older generation had an advantage in employment compared to MZers, but I'm pretty sure they also had their own difficulties back in the days. So face the reality, objectively analyze your current status, and make a move with patience. Life is tough. It's not a fairy tale, but I can assure you if you work hard and grasp the opportunity, and when the time comes, you'll finally see the bright days. And I really sounded like a boomer, so I'll stop here.
But I appreciate how you didn't try to sugarcoat anything. And it's true, like it's important to take things step by step. And if you work at it, you will find, you will get the result that you want. What about you, Grace? Any advice?
Yeah, of course, it's always important to keep others in mind as a member of an organization. And I also think that it's critical to be true to yourself too, because you're more prone to get burnt out if like your entire life is about that specific company and you're always influenced by the collective culture. Balance is key. So I encourage all job seekers and young working people to better get to know your values, your standards, and identity aside from your job as well. And yet also be able to get along with colleagues and adjust to your company culture as well.
I think that's also really good advice, adjusting to the company culture and getting along with people. It makes your life so much easier too, because you spend the majority of your time in the office at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's clear that the job market today is not just about getting hired, it's about finding a place where you feel seen, valued, and aligned with the culture. Interestingly, even company traditions once dismissed as outdated are being seen in a new light for some, as some of these rituals are a way to feel a part of something bigger. But job searching is not easy, and all of us sitting here on this panel have been through it too. It can be frustrating and at times even disheartening. But just remember that every moment of doubt gives you an opportunity to grow, and with each step, you're getting closer to the job that's really the right fit for you. We're also conducting a program survey that includes News Generation until August 17th to better meet our viewers' expectations. So please visit us at www.arirang.com or on the Arirang TV mobile app to share your valuable feedback. And by participating, you'll also have a chance to win Bluetooth earbuds and exclusive K-pop merchandise. And this brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation, but News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Big thanks to Sang-yeol.
My pleasure as always.
Good to have you, and Grace.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in. And thank you to the viewers so much for watching, and we hope you have the best day. We are
News Generation.